So this Summit Fever, Andy, welcome back to the podcast, and Jim, thanks for being here for the first time. I'm glad to have you guys here.
Thanks for having us on again, man. I really appreciate
it.
it.
It's always cool to kind of like follow up with some of the people that have been on. I've had a couple people as like repeat guests, and it's only been like a year of the podcast or so. And I think you were like a really early episode. It was like episode 5 or something. And I don't know that I even had like a working microphone at the time. So, I think we both come a long way in that time.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, wasn't it? So it's we've both kind of made some progress, I would say. So yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So last time you were just putting out Doubt, and we played a track off of that and stuff, and it was just coming out like around that time. But since then, you've gone and played a lot of shows with some great bands, and you have new music out now. So I'm excited to talk about all you've been up to in the last year, or maybe a little less than a year.
Yeah. It was just as Doubt was going to drop. We hadn't done any shows up until that point, and then sort of like September last year, we started to do some gigs around the UK. So it's been really cool, good experience.
Nice.
And
so
we've
tell us about this new song that you have. Is it going to be part of an EP or a bigger album, or is this kind of like a standalone single that you're putting out?
Yeah, so this is a standalone one. I think probably speak for myself and Andy that it's more so because our time's quite pressed with work and family and all that. But yeah, so we're trying to release music sort of every 6 to 9 months, something new. But yeah, this is going to be a standalone, and I think we have plans to release another 3-track with possibly a live version of one of the older tunes on, as well as a bonus track. Just to keep things fresh and keep putting stuff out there so we don't become unknown and fade into the pages of history. But yeah, it's So to answer your question, this one's a standalone for now, but awesome. More coming soon.
Cool.
I think that's the thing with newer bands. You've got to kind of release regularly. I think the days of making an album every 2 years, and I think unless you're really established, you can't really do that now.
Yeah. I think it's been interesting to see kind of how creative bands have gotten with that kind of stuff too. Like doing a split with another band, for an example. Like I know that's happened for a long time, but now you don't have to rely on like a record label or putting it on vinyl or making a big thing about it. It can be like this fun little split just to kind of keep momentum going. Or you can do a cover song, or you can do something fun. You can do something different. And it doesn't always have to be this like album every 2-year cycle of like silence, big push, silence, big push. And you can just kind of like have fun with it and be creative and do something out of the ordinary with kind of the different ways of releasing music, whether it's a single or an EP or, something that you're not used to doing.
Yeah, for sure. And I totally agree with you on that. I think bands are not sort of, because a lot of bands at our level, don't either not signed or they're on small labels. That they've got a bit more freedom to kind of release music and release things that they want to release and when they want to release them. And I think as well, there isn't always like a big lead up to things being released now, whereas that was the case in the past, I think, So.
Right. Yeah. So tell us about The Beyond, and what is The Beyond about, and how is your writing style or your music changed since the last time you've been on? And we were talking about Doubt.
Well, yeah, when we were writing those songs, the band was intended to be, at least in a live sense, meant to be like maybe a 4 or a 3-piece, another guitar and a bass, drums and vocals and guitar. And we kind of tried a few things, couldn't find the right person to join us on bass or guitar for that matter. And we'd already been rehearsing as a 2-piece, so we kind of looked into what we could do to make that work as a duo. And because Doubt was written in terms of like using more instruments, we place those versions slightly differently live.
Mhm.
Whereas this tune, The Beyond, was written as a duo. It was meant, it sounds the same whether we play it. We haven't played it live yet, but whether we rehearse it or we're on the recording. So we've kind of tried to kind of use limitation as our kind of as a positive, if that makes sense. So
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely been plenty of bands that can pull it off, and in your press release, I think you mentioned this Summit Fever is kind of like the Black Keys if they played Black Sabbath, and I liked that comparison. I thought that was pretty cool, and it makes a lot of sense to me. But another band like the White Stripes is one of those bands that put those limitations on themselves to see what they could do with two people. It was never like an experiment of like, well, we don't have any other players, so we just kind of gotta make it sound like a full band. That was like part of the experience, was like how simple can we make the drum beat with this like blues guitar over it and make it interesting. And like it was like part of the experience of like the White Stripes was, what can we do with two people that other bands can't do? And it wasn't thinking about it like kind of the opposite, you know?
Yeah, and I love that as well. I think I think as well, I see some bands that they have that second guitar, they have a bass player, and they're not really adding much to the sound sometimes.
Yeah.
So for us, I think we make it work. And we've played live. People tell us it sounds full and it sounds strong live. So we kind of, in a way, we've kind of embraced that limitation, much like the White Stripes and the Black Keys. We kind of make it work.
Yeah, we're playing live as well. Like, it's a lot heavier. We have to put a lot more effort in because there's only two of us, and so we really sort of kick it out live. And
how does that work live with just the two of you? I mean, you've played with some pretty heavy, full sounding bands like Boss Keloid, and to go up there with the two of you, how do you like compete with that sonically? How do you compete with that big sound when it's
hit the drums as hard as I can?
Yeah.
Make a lot of noise. But I think that's just like what I said. We kind of really I don't know what's a better word of saying, we rock it out. We really sort of go for it, and
we dig
fill
in
the sound out. And Andy's got like a magical guitar and bass together combo that I don't know how that works, but it works.
Yeah, I think that's maybe where you were going with that question there. And I've got a split for my guitar, so half goes, or part of it goes into a guitar amp, and then part of it goes into a bass amp.
Oh, okay.
So sonically, it's still got the kind of bottom end that you would expect, at a live gig. We also use quite low tunings as well, which helps.
Sure.
So again, going down that Sabbath kind of route, that's kind of where we want to be.
Kind of just fills the sound out, doesn't it? So,
I mean, I was concerned on the first gig or two, that maybe sonically it was lacking, but people have told us otherwise. Obviously, I've not heard it out front, so it's hard to know for sure. But the people that I've asked, that I trust them. So I trust that they're telling it like it is.
So tell us about those gigs a little bit. Like I mentioned Boss Keloid, which is huge. They had a huge year last year. They released an amazing album and did a lot of touring and stuff behind it. And who else? Raging Speedhorn, I think you said you did a show with. And how are those shows going?
That was a good experience. I've been watching Raging Speedhorn for a long time. They've been going for a long time, and various lineup changes and things. And they've kind of got back together in the last couple of years, released a new record, which I think is one of the better ones. It's great. It was produced by Russ Russell, who's also, we got to master our EP and our single.
Awesome.
So he's great. But those boys are pretty wild. We turned up for the show. Just got there for sound check, and those boys were already pretty wild. They were partying, and yeah, it was a wild night, that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is it like playing with some of these bands? I mean, bands that you listen to, bands that you already like, and stuff like that. Getting to go on before them and play with them. I can only imagine, because I'm not a musician, but
yeah, it's great. It's like we've been out of the music scene for a while, live playing and stuff. But yeah, it's great connecting with these bands that we've been listening to over the years, and just talking to them. They're just really cool, down to earth dudes, all of them.
Yeah.
And great musicians. Bosco Lloyd, amazing live. Probably one of the best performances live I've ever seen, and they're brilliant band. But yeah, it's great fun. I'm really liking being out on the road again and getting to do some gigs and performing to people, and hopefully helping pick up the live scene again, which has died a death recently. But
yeah, well, that's the other thing, is that, I mean, you guys started this band mid-COVID, right? So, I mean, did you ever even imagine a point where you would be playing shows, or let alone playing shows with bands like that?
Well, we kind of hoped that would be the case. We kind of thinking that maybe gigs would happen at some point in some kind of format. But yeah, I mean, we weren't sure, and we were kind of we kind of just put ourselves out there, and we were sort of fortunate enough to get some really decent support gigs, playing to the right kind of crowds, because putting us with other genres might not always work, so we kind of fitted in well with Bosco Lloyd, and there was another band called Tusker. Who were great. They're also a duo, so it was really cool to see how they do it. So the drummer sings in that band, and the guitar player does the kind of same sort of thing as I do. So it was kind of cool to see another duo doing it like that, So it's cool.
Yeah, sure. You had mentioned briefly when we were talking before this that there was a gig that happened maybe after or during or something, maybe a storm or something with your roof. What happened there?
Yeah, so we're going to play a gig in London, and we're really looking forward to it. Had some folks coming down.
Who were you supposed to be playing with? Anybody?
So yeah, it's a band from Bradford called I'm not going to be able to say their name properly now. Psychola. They're doing big things. They've been over to the States, and that pretty great. They're from
Cyclona, right?
Cyclona, yeah, that's it. Sorry,
yeah. Amazing. Yeah, they're really good. Yeah,
great band. So they were playing, and I can't remember, but it was like a 2-day festival. We were due to play on the one day. Really psyched to do it, and and then we got a sort of bout of really bad weather, and part of my roof blew off during that storm. So I in the morning, like I came down, I was like, oh my god, like there's tiles like literally like flown, like I had holes in the roof, so like I mean at the time I was pretty stressed because there was water coming in, but so that wasn't good, but it's all been replaced now. So
I guess in my head I just envisioned like an old cartoon where like the roof just kind of like tilts up like on a hinge and it just kind of blows off.
Yeah, fortunately it was a tile roof, so it wasn't literally the whole thing, but I certainly had a few holes there which weren't supposed to be there.
Well, roof stuff is never fun. The house that I live in here is like 100 years old, and it's a great house. It's all like stone and concrete and stuff. It's very strong. It's like a fortress. But when we were buying it, it had a slate roof, and everyone was like, "Oh, that's amazing! Slate is like indestructible. That'll last 100 years. Really, that's awesome." So I bought the house, and then everyone all just changed their tune immediately, and they're like, "Well, it's been 100 years, so you're gonna have to replace that. It's gonna be astronomical. You're never gonna be able to afford it." And I'm like, "What the fuck? Why didn't anyone say that when I was buying this house?" And sure enough, like at a certain point, a lot of the slate tiles were falling off and getting damaged, and there was a big storm with hail. And fortunately, the insurance company, knew that there was a storm, they were going to help. But because there's like asbestos in these old slate roofs, like it was this whole other thing. It was like, a $3,000 job turned into like a $23,000 job, and the insurance company was not happy. It took like 2 years to get it figured out, but anyway, I can at least empathize with the situation.
It's certainly not funny at the time. That's for sure.
So did you make it to the show after that?
No, we had to cancel.
Oh, okay.
I couldn't leave the house like that. But
yeah, that's a bummer.
Yeah, it was a bummer, because we were really looking forward to doing the show.
I bet, yeah.
So, but fortunately, the promoter was pretty understanding about it. So.
Sure, yeah. So, do you have some gigs coming up?
Yeah, so we've got a show on the 15th of May at the Asylum in Birmingham, which is a part of a thing called Metal to the Masses. So it's kind of like playing to get a slot on the Bloodstock Festival, which is like quite a big heavy metal festival over here. That'd be great if we got on there, but we've done that circuit before and Battle of the Bands competitions and stuff. So yeah, it means a lot to the younger guys than it does to us. But it would be great to play at Bloodstock. So yeah, there's that one, and we've got another one in June, 10th of June, at the Black Heart in Camden, playing with Grammar Vendetta. That really looking forward to that because they're a great band and we both really like their music. So we're really looking forward to playing with Grammar Vendetta. And we've got a few shows later on in the year, haven't we? I can't remember the dates, but later on in the year we're playing at a few places around the UK. But yeah, those two sort of closest ones are the May and June shows.
Yeah, I don't exactly know how traveling works over there, or how what the actual distance between things is necessarily.
Nothing's really that far away. Nothing's
more than, that's kind of what it seemed like.
Not like in the States.
Yeah. And the States don't have those, but you guys have festivals, like giant, amazing festivals all the time. And like I said, I don't exactly know how it is traveling between them or whatever, if you could hit them all or not. But like in the States, there's like two that are okay, and like maybe the Foo Fighters play or something, but it's not like big metal bands. It's like Lollapalooza has like the Foo Fighters and like some pop artists or something, but there's only a couple of really big great festivals happening as far as metal or underground rock or anything like that in the States. And even if they are happening, it's like you have to fly there, or it's like a 18-hour drive to there or something like that. Sure. It's just like we just don't have that.
Yeah, it's not like that here. I mean, within a couple of hours, generally, you can be whichever site. I mean, we're based in the middle of the UK, so if you drive 2 hours north, 2 hours south, you can be pretty much, any of the sort of major festivals. Glastonbury's like a bit further down south. Mm-hmm. That's one I've been to before. That's pretty cool. And we've got like Donington, Download Festival, sure. They call it.
Yeah.
That's not that far. Bloodstock isn't far either. So yeah, UK's very small. We can play
like that. Desert Fest just happened.
That's
I don't
right.
know where Desert Fest was, but I don't know how big that is really in comparison to Download. Probably just pretty big size difference, but amazing bands. I mean, hell of a lineup. And I just don't think we have a festival quite like that. Like now, they're doing Ripple Fest in Texas, which has a great lineup. Yeah. But that's only they're in their second year. It's a very new concept, I guess.
Yeah, they're probably going on. It's just that it's going to be in probably different states. I mean, the thing in America is it's so vast that each state is like a country in itself, really. Like the UK. You know what I mean? So it's it's probably just like more in Las Vegas, or I know they do a Psycho
in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, yeah, I know about that one,
which is good. That is a good one. I mean, they have some pretty good bands, and some of them are pretty underground and heavy and stuff like that. It's a pretty good festival. I've never been there myself, but I see the lineup, and I think they just announced it today. Actually, some of the lineup for this year.
Yeah. I mean, again, I think America, this kind of scene is it's very thriving over there. Same as in
Yeah.
Europe. It's not. I wouldn't say that it's that like big in the UK really. So it's like metal and guitar music is definitely coming back, but it's I suppose it's of a different style. Like bands like Conjurer, they're doing really well. I don't know whether you're familiar with them,
I
but
don't think so. No, I don't
worth
think so.
checking out. They're good. They're really great, man. I mean, but it's not in the same kind of sort of scene.
Yeah.
Desert Fest was great. I think London's definitely got a scene for that style.
Sure, definitely. Isn't it?
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think America is like, you've got so many wicked bands that have come out of the States, in this genre,
Yeah.
So-
Yeah. I guess they're just kind of more spread out, I suppose. It's hard to get them all together easily. But so let's play the Beyond for everyone. This
Yeah, man.
music video is going to, I think it's coming out later this week, right?
Yeah,
Or-
the 6th of May. So that's
Okay, so
tomorrow.
we're gonna premiere it here basically because this will be
Yep.
out on the 5th. Okay, cool. Right on. So is there anything else you want to say about the Beyond or the music video or anything else?
Yeah, it's our first sort of whole production video. The previous video that we did, Reborn, was partly filmed in a rehearsal studio and partly filmed by Andy and our friend Chris, who did the video for us. But yeah, so this is like a sort of, we rented a white room, which is pretty weird. And yeah, so we got a guy, Nick Townsend, to come and video us. And so it was kind of weird because neither of us are like very good in front of the camera or anything. I hate having my picture taken or being videoed doing anything. But yeah, so if we look a bit odd on screen, that'll be why. But yeah, so yeah, we shot it in black and white and we shot it in a white room, and it was pretty weird. But yeah,
I like the contrast to your last video, honestly, because it was very dark and like black and it was a lot of dark and shadows and things playing in like a dark room. This is like vastly different. It's like the complete opposite. It's very white. The photography, like your profile pictures and stuff are white now. It's a big contrast to some of the stuff from Doubt. Is that conscious? Did you do that on purpose? Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we kind of wanted to move on from that a little bit. Like obviously I love black. It sort of suits that style of music, but I think it's also good to freshen the kind of vibe up. And I think with the sort of song title of The Beyond, it's kind of it's about coming through a dark time. So there is a kind of conscious kind of thought behind that. So it's like coming out of a dark time into the light kind of thing.
Right.
More hopeful, overcoming a difficult time. Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's check it out. All right. That was the Beyond. I love it.
Man. Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, it's obviously just a performance video, so no sort of storyline to go along with it. But we felt that that kind of worked. That kind of concept would work for this song.
Yeah.
The lyrics are pretty self-explanatory, I suppose. So it's kind of didn't need a storyline. Kind of just wanted to show a bit of what we can do live, if you know what I mean. Like when we jam together. So
Mhm.
so that was kind of the idea behind that.
It's a great tune. I love it.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Are you going to have like single artwork for it? Because I know we talked about the artwork a little bit last time for Doubt, and it was what was it, like a swan, and an artist did that work for you. Are you going to have anything for this one, or is this going to be kind of on its own?
Yeah, there is artwork for it.
Okay.
So it's a photograph that I took a few years ago, actually. It's kind of, again, it sort of goes along with the sort of theme of the lyrics. So so it's quite a sort of dark looking image, and then you've got like the sun. It was actually a sunset, but it was kind of trying to evoke a sunrise. So so it's like the sort of light at the end of the tunnel without sounding too corny.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the artwork, and that was kind of the concept behind that. And again, it was kind of a picture that I always remembered that I made, and I was kind of thinking that will immediately sprung to mind to be the one to use for this single. So
awesome, very cool. Another thing that we kind of talked about last time, I think at one point, was just having like creative outlets. And I have found since we last spoke just how my creativity has changed a lot since then. Like I haven't been doing as much woodworking and stuff. I just kind of like lost that motivation to do it. And I've kind of like got really into the slightly fuzz stuff and getting, some records out with some bands and focusing on the podcast and stuff. And even that, with just some things that are going on in my life, it has been a struggle, but always having like those creative outlets and how they always change, like it's not just one thing that you're just obsessed with forever. It's I'm always looking for the next thing that I'm super into. So like for you guys, how is your like creative output with the Summit Fever changed, if any, over the last year, or at least since we last spoke, or since making Doubt? Have you found that you have like a renewed like energy about it, or have you changed focus in any way, or have you picked up any other creative outlets or anything in that time, or what is it that's doing it for you right now?
Well, we kind of got stuck into playing live, so we didn't really have a huge amount of time to dedicate to actually writing a bunch of new material. This song I sort of wrote over the sort of Christmas period, and I was kind of pretty psyched about it, and showed Jim. Jim felt pretty good about it as well. So we were kind of thinking, right, well, let's just do a single, and put that out, and we'll work on an EP for later on in the year. And yeah, in terms of your question, yeah, we've kind of we've only got so many hours in the day, really, as we both work. We've both got children, so we do this. It's important to us because I know a lot of people that sort of when they have kids and start working and things like that, they just don't find the time. You sort of get stuck into watching TV and things like that, and I don't mind watching TV sometimes, but I think I'd rather be creating. I'd rather be doing something. And same with you. I think you've changed. This channel's really taken off for you, and I'm psyched about that for you, man. I think that's great, because what you do is great, and you have some brilliant people on. And I especially enjoyed the one with singing from Monolord. I can't remember his name now, but
yeah, Thomas. Yeah,
Thomas. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
Oh, thanks.
I think it, for me, like my only kind of thing that I really really enjoy doing is writing music. You know, that's all I'm interested in doing at the moment. So that's what any free time I get, I love to write songs, and sometimes nothing happens with them. You know, sometimes it's just a little riff that I'm playing, record it into my phone or record it onto Logic or whatever, and sometimes nothing ever happens with it. Sometimes it does. So yeah, that's kind of it for me. Jim's got a few other. Jim's a bit more interesting than me. He's got a few other hobbies besides music.
Yeah.
So
I like to say it's finding the time, isn't it? I think you mentioned about influences on the writing as well. I think we're definitely writing for live performance now. Now we're sort of really getting into doing more gigs, and I personally have learned not to make things too complicated because I can't pull it off live all the time. But yeah, like time wise, finding the time to do music is important. But it's sacrificing 3 hours out of my week at the moment for rehearsals and the odd day away for gigs, which is absolutely fine. And I've kind of squeezed my other hobbies in, mountain biking and running and stuff. But I can just about manage to squeeze that in. I've got enough time. But yeah,
I used to be. Well, I used to paint. I was a good artist, a good drawer, but I was painting for a while. This is a long time ago, 10 years ago. And I hadn't really painted anything in a long time, in almost probably 8 years or something like that. And for some reason, after I kind of started doing this stuff and just seeing some of the cool artwork and whatnot, I got this random burst of inspiration, and I was like, I'm going to paint. And I dusted off this old box that I had in the attic and got stuff out. I got this canvas and I got the background all painted, and I was kind of sketching out what I wanted to do. I was really excited about it. And I was like, man, I got to roll with this. This is going to be great. First time in a long time. And as soon as I was about to start putting paint on my palette, I realized that all the white that I had was all dry because I hadn't touched it in a decade, and gone. It was the motivation was gone, and I never did anything with it.
Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. But I do know what you mean. Sometimes if you're not ready to go, that's why again for me, I try and have stuff ready to go so that when I've got an idea, I'll record stuff into my phone, use the sound recorder. If it's just a quick burst of inspiration, sometimes I just pick up the guitar and then I'll record a little riff and then I'll develop it later on if it's something that that I like. But again, I can totally relate to that. I think if you've got to set up loads of stuff and like you say, your paints have dried, I've got to go to the shop and buy some more or order some. Like you say, that kind of the moment
passed.
It's passed, and it's a shame.
I'd forgotten how to play drums when I came to start this Summit Fever project. I hadn't played for gotta be 10 years.
Yeah,
literally hadn't picked up a pair of sticks in 10 years, and it took a few months to get back into it. Yeah, for sure.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
You have to stick with it, don't you?
Yeah, you kind of got to strike while the iron's hot or something and roll with it. I mean, and not arguing with it is the other thing, is that part of me was I don't need to paint anything, but I was I haven't felt the urge to paint in a long time either. So I better just try to capitalize on it. And then, then it went nowhere, but at least for a moment.
You do your graphic design. So, I suppose that is a lot sort of easier in terms of, you've only got to really switch on your computer and away you go, right? So
yeah.
I suppose at least you are still kind of creating and you are kind of still working that muscle. Because I really think being creative and making things and writing music and things, it's a practice. It's a ritual. It's kind of it's something that you've got to keep doing. I think. I think it's if you stop, I think it's quite hard to get that sort of muscle group working again.
Yeah, and it's the same with woodworking and stuff too. Is here in the Midwest, it gets super cold for at least 4 or 5 months in the winter. And my garage is not insulated. It's not attached to the house. It's like basically you're outside with a roof. And so all winter I get out of woodworking. I never even go into the garage, and I have to like reconvince myself that I can do it every spring. I have to be like, you don't have to be nervous. You don't have to be scared that it's going to suck. You just have to go out and it's like this whole like process every spring where I have to go like, all right, I'll cut something and see how it goes. And then by the end of the summer, I love it again. And then it gets cold. It's over. But it's like this new thing. I have to like retrain myself every spring to go out and do it.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally relate to that. I think Jim mentioned that he's not played drums for a while, but I think it's that thing of like, that kind of thing is still in your brain somewhere. That skill is there still.
Yeah, it's like riding a bike,
Yeah, and you just got to kind of do it, and I think as well, I'm definitely guilty of this, and maybe you are as well. I don't know, but not everything that you do has to be, like you want to show the world. I think sometimes I'll just write a song, and it's just for me, or I'll write a song just for someone, and it doesn't. No one ever has to hear it. It just exists, just because.
That's a good point.
You felt that, or I felt that way at a particular time. So again, with your woodwork and your painting, it's really just about expression. And I think sometimes you want to show people, and sometimes you don't. Right.
Right. Yeah. All right. Let's do Real or Fuzzed. I have some new album covers for you.
Let Jim do this time.
What is it? What are we doing?
So I'm gonna show you 10 album covers. Some are real, some are not, some are fuzzed, and you're gonna tell me which ones are real and which ones are fuzzed. And then we're gonna make a few of our own here at the end of it too.
So you have to guess if it's real or fake.
I hope that one's real. That's good.
This is real. Yeah, this is a real one.
Excellent.
Pretty Boy Floyd.
Wow.
Leather Boys with electric toys.
Look at those dudes. That can't be real, but if it is, I want to meet them.
This one is real, in fact.
I've got to meet them.
I love it.
Death Corpse Metal Tit.
Death Corpse. That's a cool name. I'm going to say that one's not real.
This one is real. I mean, they are a goofy band. I haven't heard their music, but I did do a little bit of research after I found the album cover.
That's an awesome album.
It is. They have others too. You should see their song titles and some of their other albums and stuff. It's pretty fun. So that one's real. Grave Robber, Idle Hands are the Devil's Playground.
They certainly are. That's got to be real.
This one is Fuzzed. I made this one.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty great, man.
Thanks. Defecator.
Oh, definitely.
So heavy you'll need to change underwear.
Definitely real.
No, this one's also fuzzed. This one's called No Fucker.
I'm gonna say that's real.
This is real. Yeah.
Hey.
Music for Playboys to play by.
Oh, we know all about that, don't we? Yeah, she looks like she's all right with that. No, I don't think that's real. I think that's Fuzzed.
This one's real.
Oh,
wow!
I'm not doing well, am I?
Precious Metal, Old Enough to Party.
No.
Come on, Jim.
Fuzzed.
This one is fuzzed. Yeah.
Yay.
But it's cool, man.
Yeah, I like that one.
Snatch. If the party's in your mouth, we're coming.
Definitely. I'll go to that party.
Yeah.
Real.
This is real.
Yay.
Now you've got the hang of it. This one's called Pizza Death, Slice of Death.
Fuzzed.
This one's real.
Oh,
That's cool, man.
I keep meaning to check this one out, and I haven't yet, but it's like fairly new, and I think that
I really want pizza now.
I don't know if it's like a 1-person band or like a 2-person. I'm not sure, but I think he has a little bit of a following. So I need to check it out. I haven't yet. So all right. So now I'm gonna show you a few photos, and you got to come up with your own unique album titles. First one. What would this album be called?
I didn't do it.
It wasn't me.
Yeah.
I love it.
Oh,
Ooh.
Three Amigos.
Three Men and a Doll.
I think this band is actually called Tunnel of Love, which is pretty good.
Yes. I haven't got any clues. Any ideas what that could have been?
Breaking. I was going to say breaking the fourth wall, but
Neck breaker. Neck breaker by Cannibal.
Nothing to see here. There we go.
All I want to do is get stoned.
Yeah. I love this one.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Last one.
Oh, it's got to be Dancing with Death.
Oh, there you go.
Kind of a serious one, if that exists.
Yeah. Anything else? Andy's thinking hard, I think.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to think of the movie with Ryan Gosling.
Hollywood.
La La Land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought of that, but not.
You're definitely having a good time. I know that.
Yeah. Let's do the twist
All right.
or something. I don't
That
know.
was the last one. So that's really all I got for you. Thanks for stopping by again and playing the Beyond. It's a great tune, and I hope everyone checks it out. So, anything else you want to plug or tell anyone else to go do or check out or see you soon at a show or anything?
Yeah, come and see us play. We got those 2 shows coming up fairly soon, but there are a couple of others in the works as well, and then we've got a couple at the end of the year. So yeah, please come and see us. Come and support local music. If you're local to Birmingham and London, that is. Obviously, if you're in the States, then you can't. But yeah, just support local music. Your own local scene. Because if
Sure.
you don't go to gigs, the venue's shut, and then no more gigs, no more tours. And then there are younger bands, newer bands that are trying to start out as well. So they need all the support that people can give. So yeah. So live music, go.
All right. Right on. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you for
Yeah.
having us.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
really
Pete.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Later.
See you in a bit.